service now.
6:25 Times Radio Breakfast. Antarctica is surrounded by ice which grows and shrinks as the seasons change. But this year there's less than ever before. Much less. If you look at the graph comparing different years, 2023 is way below any previous year. A clear gap between this year and the rest. And this isn't just about the penguins, it could affect the whole planet. Joining us now live from the Rothera Research Station in Antarctica to tell us more is the University of Manitoba postdoctoral research fellow, Dr. Robbie Mallett. Morning to you, Robbie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
A great pleasure to have you on. I know it's very, very late there. Firstly, tell us where you are and what you're doing in Antarctica.
So I'm on a research station. If you imagine Antarctica as a big round island with a little tail, I'm about halfway up the tail. So I'm on the sort of Chilean sector of Antarctica, and we're here for a winter-long campaign on the sea ice, trying to work out not just where it is from space, but how thick it is, because that's turns out to be really important for forecasting and understanding why it's so small this year.
And what's the temperature like there now? If you were to stick your head out the window, what would it be like?
Yeah, so I just walked down to the lab where I'm calling you from, and it was a balmy minus 18, I would say, but there was no wind, so I could have my head out without a hat.
Minus 18, dear me. Now that's obviously very cold, but it is winter, or the beginnings of winter. What are you concerned about? Tell us what the fears are then.
So we've been here since March, so about 6 months, and we've been expecting to have a really long, fruitful scientific campaign on the sea ice, but it just didn't really show up for months and months. And it's the same story if you look around the whole continent. So at one point, about a month ago, we were missing an area about the size of the Greenland ice sheet of sea ice around Antarctica. And what sea ice there is, certainly from what we've seen at the station, is very thin, very transient and ephemeral. So it shows up and it goes away, which is hard for our science, but it's also dangerous for us to work on.
So why is it? What's your theory?
Yeah, we're still getting to the bottom of this year, but it's going to be some combination of warmer than average temperatures, winds pushing the sea ice into places it doesn't normally go, and potentially also, and this is the most worrying thing, long-term changes in the oceanography. So warmer or saltier water that's making it harder for the sea ice to form. And the exact interplay of that is still a bit up in the air. This year, we don't get to know it immediately, but it's certainly something we're really worried about.
And if we don't have sea ice, we don't have much sea ice, if that becomes a thing, what's the consequence of that? What are the problems that are attendant upon that?
Yeah, there are myriad consequences, really. So it's the linchpin of a lot of the ecology around here. So penguins, but also marine mammals like seals and birds. It really holds those together. But it also reflects a lot of sunlight and keeps the region cool. And that region has loads of ice sheets, glaciers, things like that contribute to sea level rise if they start to melt.
You see people on social media who tend to have an axe to grind in this area, skeptics, and they point to other parts of the world where ice is thicker, where it's colder than it has previously been, and they say, it shows you these things are very variable. You always just talk about the parts where the sea ice is melting, not where it's especially thick. What do you say to people like that?
Well, it's always easy to pick out in a noisy system something going against the trend, but this is interesting because Antarctica has always been sort of the poster child for the climate denier, because it was slightly increasing if you squint at the time series a little bit up until about 2016. But since 2016, we've seen a really sustained period of low sea ice coverages. So even the bastion of the person that's most skeptical about whether the world is melting, we're looking at Antarctica now and thinking, it's really kicking off. So I think that there's no passion like the converted, right? And now is time to convert. If you're really paying attention to Antarctica, yeah, it's time to sit up and pay attention.
And can it recover? I mean, presumably once these things happen, it's fairly hard to reverse it.
Yeah, so the sea ice certainly can recover, and it has a yearly cycle, and it's possible that it will recover next year, and we will see that since 2016 these low extents have come back a bit, and we've recovered a bit. But it's possible we'll stay at this sustained low level. It's certainly in the Arctic we can recover, particularly if we lower global temperatures. But we have such a weak understanding of how Antarctic sea ice behaves and why it behaves like it does, that ideas about reversibility are a lot more murky.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. Robbie, thank you for taking the time to speak to us. I know it's really late there.
No, thank you very much.
That's Dr. Rabi Mallet there. It's 2:29 in the morning there in Antarctica and a balmy -18.
He can stick his head out without a hat.
He's a tough lad, isn't he? He's been there for a while.
He certainly is.